My name is Joe.
And my name is Peter.
Today we are going to review the new Netflix
Death Note movie.
First, I want to say that I have watched the entire anime and read the entire manga and watched all of the live action series of Death Note. So I am a huge fan of Death Note.
I watched the whole anime series. We both really enjoyed it, and we were very excited to see what the whole Netflix version was about.
Yeah! My expectation of the new Netflix Death Note movie was that they were not going to hire Japanese actors and actresses. And also that they were not going to follow the original storyline of the manga and anime. So I expected them to have a Netflix spin on it.
So I was excited when I saw the trailer, but when I saw that the lead role who played Light the Yagami, it turns out that he was a Caucasian guy, and I was not really expecting much from it. You know, and with expectations from Dragon Ball Evolution, the live version of Avatar, with the Caucasian playing an Asian role, it's garbage. So yeah, I expect it to be garbage.
If you have not watched the new Netflix Death Note movie, please do not continue watching this video because we will spoil it for you.
Or just don't watch it, it's trash.
Anyways, are you ready?
Yeah.
Let's go!
So, Light Yagami in the series, that's the original name, turned to Light Turner on Netflix, which doesn't make sense. Anyways, Light Yagami means night and God, which is a foreshadowing of what the character development will be throughout the whole series.
In the Netflix series, Light Yagami changes to Light Tunu. And apparently, Tunu is a last name originating from France and it means the starling.
So I looked it up on Google and it turns out that Turner means a bird originating from Europe. Lame.
In the Netflix series, Light Tunu found the notebook when he was outside watching the cheerleaders practice their thing. And then the notebook fell from the sky and landed right next to him. In the original version, Light was in the classroom and he saw the notebook fall from the window, and then after class, he went outside and picked it up.
And another part of the series, or the method of how Light killed the 12 FBI agents, Mia, the Misa of the Netflix version, took initiative and killed the 12 agents instead of Light.
When L first approaches Light, it was very different from the original. In the Netflix version, L goes up to Light in the random restaurant and it just randomly decides to sit down and tell him that he is L. In the original version, they meet at the freshman orientation at the college that they were going to attend, and then they gave a speech and then they had an epic tennis match.
And in the Netflix version, they had a conversation and Light got emotional, L got emotional, L knocked over a bunch of stuff, which is totally uncharacteristic of the original series, which did not make sense.
In both versions, the apple is very symbolic. However, in the Netflix version, they did not explain why the apple was being eaten. But in the original one, the Shikigami Rook explained that the apple is very juicy and delicious compared to the Shikigami apples. Apparently, in the Shikigami world, the apples are disgusting.
In the Netflix version, the rules were very bothersome. What was really dumb was in the original version, if anybody touches the Death Note, you could see the Shinigami. But in the Netflix version, you touch the Death Note, you would not be able to see the Shinigami. And which is pretty dumb, and the only way you can see the Shinigami is to be the owner of the Death Note. Another thing that bothered me were the Death Note rules were very difficult. If you were able to touch the Death Note, then you should be able to see the Shinigami. In the Netflix version, if you touch the Death Note, you would not see the Shinigami. And in order to see the Shinigami, you need to be the owner of the Death Book, which did not make sense.
Also,
What the read?
Death was very inaccurate. In the original version, Light did not know his true name. Walter Reed's name was actually an alias, so he was unable to kill him. But in the Netflix version, Light was able to manipulate his actions like 2 to 3 days?
I don't know. It was garbage. I don't care.
2 to 3 days before his death, and despite not knowing his true name.
The ownership of the Death Note was also different. In the Netflix version, if you did not want the Death Note anymore, you would have to put the Death Note somewhere and leave it there for 7 days, and Ryuk will look for someone to transfer that Death Note to someone.
But in the original version, to transfer ownership of the notebook, all you had to do was say, I give up ownership of this notebook, and drop the notebook onto the ground, and then someone will pick it up, and then the transfer will have been made.
There were so many differences between the Netflix version and the original version, but these are the ones that really bothered us. Light was a loser on Netflix. He was a nerd and nobody liked him. He wasn't obsessed with trying to get rid of criminals, and he did not want to make the world into a utopia.
And most importantly, he was not handsome. The only thing that Netflix got right was that Light was smart. Mia's character was also very different from the original Misa. She was extremely evil and even took advantage of Light twice. She used his reluctance to kill people to take advantage of him. She wasn't even in love with Light. She was more into the Death Note than Light. And also, she was a nobody and she was not famous like Misa.
And the romance between the two in the Netflix version was very different from the original. In the original, Light took advantage of Misa. Misa loved Light, but Light did not love her. He even planned to kill her several times, and the romance between Light and Misa in the Netflix version was totally different. In the original, Light was constantly taking advantage of Misa's love. He even tried to kill her. He had no love for her.
However, Light and Mia in the Netflix version agreed that the world needed cleansing from the criminals. It actually seemed that Light was in love with Mia, but Mia wrote down Light's name in the Death Note to manipulate him. In the Netflix version, Light and Mia actually kissed multiple times, but in the original version, Light will only kiss Misa just to shut her up.
The Netflix version never mentioned that L was British. L's personality was similar to the original L. He was not as calm, cool, and collected like the original, and when Watari died, he was very emotional and he did all his actions out of emotion.
Towards the end of the movie, the Netflix L was actually tempted to write down Light's name in the evil Death Note. But in the original anime and manga, L would never be tempted to use that evil Death Note.
Physically, Ryuk looked dark and dirty, and in the original, he was very pale.
Ryuk was portrayed as much more evil in the Netflix version. In the original version, Ryuk actually helped out Light sometimes. He actually told him that he was being followed and also pointed out the 37 cameras that L implanted in his room. The Netflix Ryuk was not as mischievous and trolly as the original. The Netflix Ryuk was just creepy and weird.
Light's dad and Watari were the only characters who seemed similar to the original version.
All of the other characters' personalities will change dramatically.
Thank you for watching! We hope you find this video helpful and informative.
Hopefully after watching this video, you decided not to watch this movie.
And we recommend to watch the anime version, which is also on Netflix, and it is not garbage.
We would also like